Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. It's Friday Night Lights, the NFL Draft Edition, and we couldn't even wait to get started. We were literally arguing with each other before we even started the show. Swami was like yelling at me. Willie Walls doesn't like Dotson. I'm like, all these picks, all these players. I guess I must be wrong. Swami, what do you want to say about your Ravens? Go ahead.
Doc, I'm gonna let my friend say it all. Yes.
You had a great draft. Kyle Hamilton, star. Linderbaum, maybe one of the best centers we've seen in the last 5 years. And Ojabo from Michigan is good. What more do you want?
Doc, it's nothing like waking up on Christmas morning and really, really wanting that Nintendo, that first one with the punch out, the games, the whole nine. And what you got was a pair of socks or a sweater. I could care less about the best safety in the draft or the best center in the draft. And you know why, guys? Because we were the 8th worst on third down. We were the 9th worst as far as passing touchdowns. And that safety, unless he's going to convert to wide out, isn't going to help that offense that struggled the last 4 years, late in the season and in the postseason, especially when it comes to big plays, first downs, and touchdowns. I do not want to hear about since 1996, this organization has done a great job at one thing. That's drafting defense, drafting O-line. And guess what? We have to be maybe the worst franchise since 1996 at drafting a franchise quarterback or drafting a playmaker at wide receiver. I'm tired of it, Doc. I'm going to let Walls go. I'm tired of it. And the stats prove it, Walls. It don't make no doggone sense.
Hey, so do dementia come when you get in your 40s? Because I think you got dementia. I think you got hit in the head a couple of times. I think some of those lineups we had like the other night when we were really unimpressive, I think you need to go back to the hospital and get checked out, sir. I think you're still concussed, okay? The Ravens, listen, this is what the Ravens do. They always draft. It's not always by need. They draft the best person available at that position, and I guarantee you they're going to have because this is a wide receiver rich draft, as I think. I mean, it's deep in receiver. So I think they have an opportunity to get that. Listen, you got one of the best safeties in the game that's coming to your team, and with what you already have. It's probably going to make you the best secondary in the league. And you get this center guy that has not been seen. Football folk, man, this guy is going. Now, listen, this is the thing. He is best served as a zone blocker, but I think this guy's versatile enough to make this work. Because I'm going to tell you, this guy he's a starter already. He's going to be the starter.
And 25 cents going to get you a bag of chips.
Yeah,
how many touchdowns?
He's already going to be a starter. So listen, your whole draft is not complete yet. So before you, and I agree with you, they're going to have to address the wide receiver situation. I agree, but I'm going to tell you, they have drafted excellent so far.
That's every year. It's an A draft.
Every year we get an A draft, Doc.
And it's an A draft. It's an A draft because the guys you took, you may not like the positions they filled, but you can knock Hamilton. He was a top 5 talent. This Linderbaum is absolutely, I don't want to say generational, but there's not been a center in this draft like this guy in years. And Ojabo from Michigan, he can get to that quarterback because you guys have not been the same since Matt Judon went to New England.
Doc, we led the league in rushing, and we got bounced from the playoffs. We've had a formidable defense that we've been putting on the field since the great Larry Lewis was there, Doc. We have to, at some point, address these key positions. We haven't had a franchise quarterback in Baltimore. Lamar, we love you. I know you're listening. We love you, Lamar. We haven't had a franchise quarterback, somebody who was able to stand in there on third down 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, and convert. Right now, what they're doing with Lamar, they're handing the ball off on 3rd down. Even 3rd and long, 3rd, 7, 3rd and 8. Go back and look at it last year. They're continuing to hand it off. They don't believe he can get it on 3rd down.
I'm going to tell you the following, okay? Willie, tell me if you agree. Rashad Bateman is really a good young receiver. They need to get that ball in his hands. Secondly, James Prochet from SMU, this guy is a good 3rd down receiver. All they have to do is give this guy opportunity. Willie, what do you think about, first of all, finish about the Ravens. Let's talk about, Willie. Hollywood Brown. Think they made a good deal getting rid of him?
Listen,
yeah,
I think he fits Arizona's needs. Okay, listen, this guy could take the top off, and I think when you combine him with Hopkins and you combine him with AJ Green, and then you combine him with the rookie that they drafted last year.
They just drafted Trey McBride, the best tight end in the game, and they already got Ertz. Keep getting richer.
I think really in the way he throws the ball, he can throw the ball deep. I think it's going to be a good marriage, and they're college teammates. So I think that's going to be. I think that's a good. Now
the question was good for the Ravens. That ain't good for the Ravens.
And the key thing is, he the one thing that he does that's still a concern is the fact that he's got to stay healthy. Okay, that's the only thing they can do. But I'm just saying he's a great fit for what they do, and he's an upgrade on Mr. Kirk. Okay, so you combine him with Hopkins, that's if they got to get Murray taken care of. They got to get him taken care of. But if they get him to listen, it's a great fit, and he's going back home like another receiver went back home with his college quarterback.
All right, Swami, let's talk about a bigger thing. Are you upset about Hollywood Brown leaving? Now, let's talk about another thing within that, okay? You mentioned Christian Kirk, and I'm going to talk about this on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio tomorrow. I believe that the Christian Kirk deal with the Jaguars has changed the face of the NFL as we know it. Because this guy, who is not a great receiver, I would call him good plus, maybe very good, but I'm certainly not great, got $20 million a year to go play in Jacksonville. So now, if you are A.J. Brown, you're Hollywood Brown, you're Buster Brown, Charlie Brown, I don't care what Brown you are.
Doo-doo Brown.
Doo-doo Brown. You want to make more than Christian Kirk because you're better than Christian Kirk. So if he's making 20, you want 22. So can you blame Hollywood Brown?
I can't blame Hollywood. But hey, I'm not a Hollywood guy. I'm not in LA. I'm in Charm City. I don't give a damn what's going on in Arizona. You talk about my team. You don't get better when you need playmakers by letting them go. Some teams could do it. If you got a Aaron Rodgers, you got a Tom Brady, sure. Maybe it doesn't matter as much. You can plug and play guys when you got that kind of offense. We don't. This was his number one guy. They developed some chemistry over the time that he was there. Oh, you take him in the first round, 25th pick overall, 2019, 39 spots ahead of some guy named Walls call him DJ, some guy named Metcalf. Oh, okay. And then you let him go. It doesn't make sense. If everybody else can afford to pay a guy, I'm talking about the good teams. If they can afford, the Rams can afford to pay a guy, then last in your division, maybe you can afford to pay a guy. How is it that these teams, the good teams, always find a way to pay a guy, or they keep their system together and able to bring a guy in? The fact that we have to keep losing people, it just doesn't make sense.
Willie, let's talk about this in a broader scope. A.J. Brown gets traded. But now I read an article from Teron Davenport, who I highly respect, who covers the Titans for ESPN. A.J. said they offered him $16 million. He said he would have stayed if they offered him $22 million. Does it shock you that these teams don't want to pay these guys that much money?
Listen, I think Philadelphia did an outstanding job by getting A.J. Brown. Let me say this. And this dude that they picked up, supposed to be A.J., no.
Hell no.
No. I mean, this is what's going to happen next year. Okay, let's put 10 in the damn box. Okay. Listen, you don't lose a guy like AJ Brown. That was horrible. Horrible. Good for Philadelphia. Good for the Eagles. Bad for the Cowboys. Okay.
Would it shock you, by the way? I sent out a tweet and I said, I cannot believe that they only got a first and a third from AJ Brown. Yeah. Do you know that most people thought I was crazy? They were like, this guy is overpaid. He's always injured. He wanted too much money. And I think everybody's nuts. I look at AJ Brown and I say to myself, this guy's star.
But see, but that's where the Kirk factor upped everything. That's what Tyreek Hill. That's why he's not with the Chiefs anymore. Same thing. When that piece of milk get paid, then everybody else said, "Oh shoot,"
But we could talk about the price of poker, Walls. The fact is that every year something happens that kind of shifts, right? The way that things are going. This year it's at wide receiver. You got to pay to play. You can't make that excuse. It makes those. If you're Tennessee, if I'm a Titans fan, and every year we were right there, and then every year we lost another receiver, right? 3 years in a row. That offense doesn't get better because even if you bring in a great draft pick, it doesn't get better. They have to have time to develop. He just can't come in. No, it doesn't make sense.
I agree with you, Mo, but making an excuse. I ain't making no excuse. I thought it was a horrible deal for Tennessee. I think it doesn't
make any sense. They don't get better that way.
Yeah, man.
But do you get better? I'm just asking the question. Treylon Burks, not a bad receiver. I mean, he's obviously a first-round talent, but it's going to take him at least a year or two to rev up. Right? But you get the cheaper contract. Do you use that $20 million that you would have given to AJ Brown on getting another guard or another linebacker or another safety?
But Doc, this is the thing. They only got the big fella only got a couple of years left.
Thank you. King Henry ain't got 10 years.
Listen, you have to. This was the time that you have to maximize. You only got a certain shelf life where you're gonna be. Because guess what? That Bengals ain't going nowhere. You follow what I'm saying? So now you take away AJ Brown. I mean, no. The year before you lost the other receiver to the Jets. No, you don't keep you keep losing. You keep losing talent, and when you keep losing talent, this is what you have. And all that. So what that make me is listen. I already wasn't going to be on Henry anyway, but hell no.
they gave up the tight ends.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Who was a number one seed in the AFC last year? In the playoffs? Was it the Tennessee Titans?
Yes.
So now you give up Brown. Henry's on his last year or two. Ryan Tannehill has one more year left on that contract when they're going to get rid of him. Why are you not going all in? Why are you not keeping AJ Brown? Maybe you franchise him. You pay him that extra $22 million for the 1 year, whatever it is. But I think the Titans went from having a chance to win the Super Bowl to no chance of winning the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
We listen. We're all in this. I mean, Philadelphia got a heist. What they did was improve their situation
dramatically.
So let me ask you this, Swami: is Jalen Hurts a top 5 fantasy quarterback going into next year?
He is. When you say top 5, I think he'll end the season up there. If you ask me if I'm taking a quarterback top 5, then I'm not taking any quarterback top 5. But I would say he'll be a top 5 fantasy quarterback next year. I think so. With what they're putting together. Yep.
I think
I take that.
I give him a top 10.
You got to think about the people. 5, yes. You got to think about the people going the other way. A lot of movement. Pieces have shifted.
But what I'm saying is he still got something to prove. Okay, so.
Last year he barely threw for 200 yards in a game. I mean, he shouldn't be able to miss AJ Brown. AJ Brown should be getting 80 yards a game by accident.
Listen, they will be better this year. And see, this is what it does for Philadelphia. It will give them a proper gauge to say if this is the guy or not. Okay, if he don't do it this year, then you move on. Okay, so this is his year to do it. So they making sure they all in. They getting him the type of weapons that he needs.
The East still tough. The East is tough.
Can I tell you the problem with the Eagles? I think their coach stinks. I don't think Nick Sirianni is great. I think the play calling last year was suspect. They barely threw the ball at all. I mean, they didn't know what to do with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert half the time. But now you've got Devonta Smith, you've got A.J. Brown, you've got Sanders, you've got Gainwell, you've got Goddard, you got pieces. You got to figure out a way to get to the playoffs with that team.
Absolutely.
You have to.
See, it's two things. The coach is on a hot seat as well as the quarterback. They're both on a hot seat. So this is the make or break year for them.
The coach for sure.
Okay, let's talk about another receiver, Deebo Samuel. So the Ravens gave up Brown. The Titans gave up Brown. But the 49ers, I think a lot of people thought there could have been a trade to the Jets. They never made that trade. Willie, did the 49ers do the right thing or the wrong thing by not getting rid of Deebo?
Listen, if they get rid of Deebo, please, they better keep Deebo. That's a smart team. You know, they said all the right things. Deebo, we're going to work something out. We got you. You are really important to us, Mr. Deebo. We got you. So listen, we're going to work this out. No way do we want to give up Mr. Deebo. You didn't hear nothing. Listen, they saying all the right things, and I think they're working to get that done because let me tell you something. If you get rid of this rascal, I mean, who? Okay, who's the number one receiver? This guy. Who?
Exactly.
Ayuk.
It'd be more like ass puke.
This guy, Deebo makes everybody better. He's a threat in running. He even throw the damn. I mean, he does everything for him. And I'm not necessarily mean that if he goes to somebody else, that they can use him right. Shanahan just has a way of using this guy the proper way. I think they're both a perfect fit for each other.
But the team is right there. You've been in the playoffs. You've challenged the Rams. You went head to head with the Super Bowl champion. I said you have great weapons across the whole team. Your defense is strong. You got Kittle. You got the running backs in the backfield that you like. You guys are right there. They got to avoid some injuries. Kind of get a few more stabs with each other. Find somebody who's going to get these guys the ball and not turn the ball over at critical junctures of the game. But they're right there. If you start taking big steps back like that, good luck.
So let me ask you this: you don't think trading for the 10th pick and getting Garrett Wilson and maybe getting another couple of picks from the Jets? What if Deebo leaves? What if Deebo leaves anyway and goes, I'm not playing for you guys. I'm done. Then you would have had Garrett Wilson. You would have had something, Willie.
Listen, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. You got to remember, these teams, these receivers, as good as they are, still got to prove themselves. Deebo is proven.
I like Wilson. Deebo's a lion. I mean, he is the heart and soul of that team.
I like Wilson too.
You can't trade that.
But you can't. I will take Deebo for that offense. For what they have, Deebo is essential.
Did you see him in the playoffs? He said, "You want some of this too?"
He listen. Come on, hell no.
No.
People, listen. I don't care. Garrett Wilson, Flip Wilson, T.T. Wilson. I don't care who are you talking about. No.
All right. So I want to ask a question. Let's say Swami Jr. comes to you and says, Dad, I want to play running back.
Mm-hmm.
Would you now, at one point in your life, you would have said, sure, you should, Junior, play running back. Now, the number one running back, Breece Hall, the guy who runs a 4.3 something, catches a 3 down back, does everything you want. This guy's a second round pick, not making the coin that they would have made 10 years ago. Why would any kid right now want to be a running back when you could be a top 10 pick and be a linebacker, when you could be a top 10 pick and be a receiver, Swami?
I think the problem is right now, the shift that we're seeing is because the bad teams, and I agree with it, the bad teams have to address the interior first. They have to get better at the offensive, defensive line, or it won't matter who you put behind them. Unless it's Barry Sanders, they're going to be running for their lives. So you have to address that first. And then once you get late in the draft, the good teams are set at those positions. And so I think them falling in some kind of way are more of a product of that. I think NFL teams, the good teams, are going to have somebody in the backfield, or they're going to focus on the run, or they're going to run to set up the pass. Only the bad teams do it the other way. So what I like about this guy running this 4.39, I think he went back to the Jets. They had to address some other pieces first. I think he's a great fit. He reminds me of like a DeMarco Murray kind of guy. He can catch, he can run. He like in the pocket, he's got that little bit of wiggle, and then obviously he can bust out when he get there. I think he's going to be competing for the job over there. I think he might win it. And the Jets are going to look a whole lot different this year coming in. And I think who's going to be the happiest person in New York is going to be Mr. Wilson, because he will absolutely benefit from some of the things that they're doing. The Jets going to be a lot better. Watch out.
Willie, the Jets look like they have the A++ draft this year. I mean, I don't see any holes with this draft. You're getting the best cornerback. I mean, he and Stingley are 1 and 1A. You're getting the 1 and 1A receiver. You're getting Johnson, and now you're getting the number 1 running back. I mean, if you're a Jet fan today, you are proudly wearing your green.
Plus, you forgot one person that they received too.
In a trade.
In a trade. And then, you know, man, listen, the Jets are stacked. You know, man, I have to consider Mr. Wilson later in the draft. I mean, they are stacked. And this hot sauce, whatever you want to call him, saucy.
Love him.
Listen, killer. You know, they got somebody and fix that mold. Fix the mold. You know, that satellite, like, I mean, you know, he's one of those hardcore, you know, people like that. He's gonna fit the mold, you know, that ex-49er cornerback that they had before he started breaking into houses and going crazy.
Oh my gosh. This guy's always bringing up controversy.
So that's the role he's gonna fit. But listen, their draft has been exceptional. You know, barring injuries, listen, they will definitely be improved. You know, but you still got to address that one thing, just like with Russell Wilson, we talked about, like finally Seattle addressed. You got to address that offensive line. You still got to beef up on that line there. You know, you can have all your little pieces on the outside that you have, but if you don't have that line, you need that line to gird everything up. But I love what they're doing in the draft. They have been outstanding.
Swami, I'm just looking at the picks here, and through the end of round 2, there has been no other quarterback taken. No Malik Willis, no Matt Corral, no Desmond Ridder. Does it surprise you? And I think round 3 is where a lot of these guys are going to go. Does it surprise you that Pickett was the only quarterback in the first round to go? And do you think that any of these other guys are any more than backups in the NFL?
I think you got a lot of guys who have to come in and put some work in the, you know, hopefully through maybe the first couple of preseason games, they can kind of start to make a little bit of noise. I don't know if they had that, you know, that person that they thought was just going to come right in and take over one of these teams. But it's the same thing, like I just mentioned before, is that so many times we're seeing where these teams are saying, hey, we got to address some of these major holes. And I think what they figured out as well is that they get offensive linemen and defensive linemen right probably more often in the first round than they do these other positions. They say, hey, let's not try to take a shot on Kyle Bowler. Let's go get Jonathan Ogden, right? I think people start to figure it out and say, hey, we kind of get this tackle thing right more often than we get this first round quarterback thing, at least in Baltimore. So I think with that, and you couple that with the fact that they had some players out there that you had to take, like Willie said, the best player on the board. I think, again, you've seen that with the Jets. Even some of the other teams, I think they got better, or they got some pieces that they really needed. And so I like the way it's going. I think some of those quarterbacks are going to land in some good spots. They'll get a chance to go in and kind of compete. And we're going to see somebody come out of this draft. I think at least 2 or 3 of these guys might emerge. And it may not be somebody who's picked even in the 3rd round, but there's going to be some guys who do make some noise.
Willie, do you like Kenny Pickett? Is that a good pick by the Steelers?
No.
Will he start next year?
No. He gets rid of the ball too damn slow. You know, thought it was a horrible pick. I mean, that was the first pick. Horrible pick for Pittsburgh. Yeah, I know he's local, but he's no damn Marino.
I disagree. Now, let me tell you
I disagree with you. He had one of the slowest releases, in the league, 3.19.
They talked about his release.
That would have been the slowest release in the damn league for all the quarterbacks from last year. I mean, you'll see. They talked about his release. You'll see.
They talked about his release. They talked about his arm, not having a big arm, not having a release. But guess what? I trust that organization. Guess what? I trust those coaches. And if they had time to look at this guy, they had plenty of time to go visit him, check him out, put eyes on, see games. They had time to bring him in. They had time to be around the facility. They had time to feel him out. And if they said this is our guy, they took him in the first round when nobody else gone in the first round. Listen, let me finish. They haven't even taken another quarterback yet in this draft. You watch out. Yeah, I trust that organization a whole lot more.
I'll trust this about them. Yeah, I'll trust this about them. Yeah, just like the other Ben Ass Milk Roethlisberger, been their quarterback the last few years. They have not been able to draft nobody, and you say trust that damn organization. Who the hell did Pittsburgh got the last few years?
Two Super Bowls.
Tell me who they drafted the last few years. Who have they drafted? It's like Bill Aschek. Terrible.
Speaking of dementia. Speaking of dementia, you must have forgot about the Super Bowl.
Number 84 on the damn board. He's just going by his damn name. He sucked the last few years.
Speaking of dementia,
the franchise is going down. Bill Belichick is milk of the ass strength. I don't care about what you did in the past. What the hell they doing now? Who have they drafted that's been off the chain? No damn body. I don't want to hear it.
What team?
Pittsburgh. You said it's an organization.
Yes.
Get on out of here.
They got a good team.
What Pittsburgh do last year?
What
they do last year?
They had injuries. They weren't.
What they do last year? I don't want to hear.
It was tough.
The problem with Pittsburgh last year was that Ben Roethlisberger had a noodle arm, and they needed to get rid of him. They were stuck with him for one last year, and they couldn't fix it because by that point they threw the ball to Najee Harris about 120 times in the first 5 weeks. They ran that guy to the ground. At that point, it was done. I mean, I felt badly for Pittsburgh.
But remember, Najee Harris, he's still there. Guess what? They just drafted a receiver in the second round. All right. I think they're going to make some noise. And I'm telling you, I trust them. You're talking about Ben Roethlisberger at the end of his career. Big Ben, I just don't think you throw out Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He brought them a couple of Super Bowls. You don't just throw these guys away because they're getting older. He went out, he tried, he gave it a go. The organization supported him. I can get behind that. I'm telling you, you can't be mad at them for taking care of that guy who took care of them, and he's a part of that community. You can get the Roethlisberger, and I know you want a burger now.
A nasty part of that community.
I said, there you go with the controversy. But anyway, Doc, it's something about that. If they were willing to take him when no other quarterback has even been looked at yet, not seriously, that tells me that they like him, that they think he's the guy, and I trust that more than Walls.
I want to say, out of this little fight there, I agree with Swami a lot in the following. Great teams have great drafts year in and year out. Whether you like the Ravens draft or not this year, they always draft well, even back from Ozzie Newsome. The Steelers draft well. The Bills just drafted Dalvin Cook's brother, James Cook. The Bills always draft well. There are certain teams that you can rely on the fact that the guys they pick always pan out. Bill Belichick, you scratch your head, you're like, who is this guy? And then 4 years later, the guy's a Pro Bowler, and you're like, how'd he do it? Right? So there's certain teams
Whoa. Okay. No, that was back when they had the other dude during the draft. Now when Bill was mixing up. Come on.
I agree with that. Before.
Yeah, that was before.
They drafted, did you ever know Kyle Duggar from Lenore Ryan College?
Right.
Right? Whoever heard of that college in North Carolina?
Exactly.
The guy's like one of the best safeties in the league.
Exactly.
No, but I'm looking at the last 3 drafts that he's had. He's been horrible.
That's a small sample.
Going down big time.
Look,
like
Mac Jones has been good. I mean, look, I don't want to kill the Patriots draft. I'm saying the Jets seem to be drafting better with Joe Douglas, right? The Giants draft this year has been terrific with Shane because he comes from the Bills coaching, philosophy tree. Certain teams, the Commanders, the pick is going to stink. The pick before they make it is going to stink because they don't know how to draft.
Agreed. That's why when you say this Dobson, he stinks.
You know what? If they took him in the second round, you'd be happy with him because you're like, he's a good.
Yeah, but not what it matters. I mean, just like you look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs got 2 great picks, number 21 and number 30. Got the steal of the draft at number 30. They know. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. you get better. They address the quarterback situation, and it's not. This guy is a draft. He gonna make everybody like Randy Moss. He gonna make everybody pay. Kansas City just got stronger, and people.
I like that Sky Moore. I like him.
And the Packers took Christian Watson, who I really like, and everybody thought the Packers needed to take a receiver in their first round. Watson is as good as any first rounder.
Yeah,
he was a 4.35.
They hit on one, and they miss on the other one. So I mean, we'll see, but they still. Listen, I'm sorry.
But speaking of the Packers, you can't get rid of Devontae Adams. I don't care who your quarterback is, and get better. You just can't get better. No, it's not possible.
But he didn't want to be there anymore. Right. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers knew. I think I'm sure you guys saw the same interview. He was a little surprised. He told Tay what was going to happen, but Tay wanted to leave. He wanted to go with his buddy, Derek Carr.
Yeah, but the reason he wanted to leave because they did not address his situation. They
said after year.
Yeah. Aaron, we got you, Aaron. We got you, Aaron. Please let us hold you up, Aaron. We're gonna get you, Devontae. Let's go in the corner over there, Devontae. Let's go in the corner. We got you.
And he might only play another year or two.
Right. So. And you can't get a commitment out of Devontae. Said, listen, he made the right decision. And I'm glad he left him hanging because let me tell you something. What Devontae, man, come on, man. You don't let a talent like that go, and you don't address the situation.
They will struggle.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Even with the great Aaron Rodgers, they will struggle.
I mean, listen, Detroit. Listen.
Oh, they making some noise. What about Detroit?
They had a great draft.
What about Detroit? Oh, okay.
No.
I thought you saw something crazy over there. Okay.
The receiver they got from the Alabama receiver.
They making noise.
You paying with the receiver that you already got.
They making noise.
If he didn't tear his ACL, he was a top 5. That's
no
how
question.
good he was.
Listen,
no question.
He just listen. The film. He just like pops. He said, "Hey." He just pops on the film.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: when the Jacksonville Jaguars took the mediocre Trayvon Walker, and I say mediocre, and I'm being generous, how fast do you think the Lions ran that ticket up there to take Aiden Hutchinson?
I think they tripped twice. I think that joker fell up.
See, and there we go again. Bad organization. Right. Pick that ass milk number 1. Come on, man.
This is terrible.
You're
not that close.
May be higher, but his floor is so much lower. Hutchinson is always right here. So do you really need to go for the guy who was a little bit higher when his floor was that much lower than Hutchinson? You would give up an A- player to chase an A+, or what if the guy's a C? Makes no sense to me.
They got too many holes to address. They're not close enough to take a pick like that.
Okay, who had the worst draft last night? The first round draft. I know we haven't looked at the whole thing. No, put it down. Put it down. Did the Cowboys have the worst draft? Have the Cowboys replaced their wide receiver issues yet?
No, but they didn't have the worst draft. This guy that they got as a player, so they didn't have the worst draft.
I like Sam Williams too.
Yeah,
they got from Ole Miss.
But
I like
but up there, of course, the number 1 draft choice, you can't make that mistake. You choose that guy.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't.
That was about.
So,
I do like Devin Lloyd, who they took later in the first.
No, that was a great pick.
Yeah,
but the first one, you can't.
Yeah,
you can't miss on. You can't miss on number 1. You can't. If you don't trust yourself, trade down.
Yeah, you got to do something.
Trade down.
That was unimpressive.
That was horrible.
They couldn't trade down. Nobody wanted that pick. Nobody wanted that pick.
You better go get AJ Brown. Then. Go get Doo Brown. Anybody.
Was there any team? I thought there were the teams that did the best actually were at the end. I thought the Chiefs had a great draft. I thought the Bengals had a great draft, taking that guy Hill out of Michigan. He was a steal. He could have been a top 15 player. I love when teams on the bottom, not on the bottom, but they're good teams, they get even better because teams let them get guys that they shouldn't. Karlaftis should have been a top 20 pick. He should never have been there at 30.
Yeah. They don't have as many holes, Doc. So it's easy when I only got to plug one little hole, right? Versus the Jaguars, they got the Titanic. They have no way of being able to plug all of those holes. So they got to make a pick that seems like it's going to be somebody's going to be there 10 years, anchor, left tackle type of pick. And when they don't, it just leave a bunch of question marks.
And plus, they had the dumbest coach in the world. Getting lap dances, and all that kind of stuff.
This Mr. Controversy. Oh my God. Get over on one of those networks with all the controversy. Here we talking DFS.
Still no quarterbacks. We're in the middle of round 3. Still nothing. Nobody's being taken yet. And you know who hasn't been taken yet? Nakobe Dean. The Giants took a center. I thought the Giants would take Dean. He hasn't got. What does this guy need to do? Just because he's 5'11", 229, he's a freaking tackling machine.
Yeah,
but I like those players like that because they end up proving themselves. When they get in that league,
and come in with a chip. They come in with a chip.
I love a player like that.
Exactly.
They're gonna have a chip, and they don't take nothing for granted.
Right.
So when we look at it, I'm just going to go through round 1 for a second here. I'm just looking at some of these picks here. Do we like what the Texans did, getting Stingley and then coming back and taking Kenyon Green? I like getting Stingley.
Stingley
got to have a good cornerback.
Stingley was
a good choked pick. Up about Stingley.
But the next pick, I'm gonna tell you. Oh, I'm gonna tell you, it was bad. It was bad. The Saints.
Oh yeah.
The Saints.
Yeah.
You didn't like Olave?
Olave is nice, but they could have got him later. Okay. They could have.
See, I disagree. There was a pocket. Let's take a look for a second, guys. Pick 8 was London. 10 was Wilson. 11 was Olave. 12 was Jameson Williams, right? Then all of a sudden, your boy Dotson went at 16. Burks went at 18. There was that pocket there of receivers that if you didn't get one there, you lost out.
They gave up too much. They gave a round 3, 98, a round 4, 120. They gave up too much for that.
But they needed somebody desperately.
But they're another team who they're just not close enough to take a pick like that, Doc. They're not. It's not like that's the piece that's going to put them over the top.
Right, but there was that window in the draft. If you didn't get the guy there, you were done. There was nobody.
Yeah, but so Doc. But then hold on. Where's this other pick? Where was the Saints' other pick they had? It was
They took Trevor Penning, who I really like at 19. I mean, he's
okay. All right. First of all, this guy, I disagree. I am not. He's a killer run backer, but his pass protection is horrible. Horrible. Has bad techniques. He doesn't get low enough. And I'm gonna tell you,
guys like that now.
And they let Trevor, Trevor Armstead go, who was a technician. Then you get this unproven guy.
But you had to replace Armstead, otherwise Jameis would have been.
I got it. But this guy right here, though, Doc, has bad techniques, and trust me, Jameis will feel it when the people come screaming around there. You'll see. They got a lot of work with this guy. A lot of work.
So, Swami, you don't like Olave? You don't think that he's a legit pro?
I think he can work his way there. I just think that when anytime it's like new coach, new situation, I need these guys to be just sound coming into that first draft. And I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what they think their holes are. Every year we get teams, Doc, that I think either think they're better than what they are, or they must have a lot more confidence in what it is that they're trying to do than any of us can see. Because it never manifests. It never turns into something. Like Harbaugh, he has to be. Again, I got to go back to my guys. He has to be sitting back, big cigar. He's got a stogie. He's saying things like, nailed it, woohoo! But I can't see it. And it doesn't translate to anything on the football field either. It's going to be still 220 yards passing per game and maybe one touchdown to the tight end. But some kind of way, these coaches feel like they are putting something together that we as fans, we as DFS folks can't see. And the reality of it is that most times they're not putting it together. They're just overconfident. I don't know what he's doing. I really don't.
All right, Willie, if you're in a dynasty draft, okay, and you have the number 1 pick, is the number 1 pick, I'm going to give you some names. Is the number 1 pick Kenneth Walker? Is it Breece Hall? Is it Garrett Wilson? Who are you taking with the number 1 pick in a dynasty rookie draft?
Well, if you really want to go upside, for me, I mean, you know, I will go on a limb and take the receiver for Detroit. You know, because if you want to look at I haven't seen somebody pop off on a film like that. I mean, that guy pops off the film. Now, and the reason is I like it, it's a high risk, high reward. You could be either going to be ass or you're going to be sitting there if he stays healthy. And this guy is one of those talents that you do not get too often. And Georgia was very fortunate that rascal got hurt because this guy ate them. This guy can eat you up, and I love. No, I know about the receivers, but nobody got talent like that guy got talent. You know, so you know if I'm gonna, I mean, the safe pick would be Wilson. That'll be the safe pick. But I'm gonna go upside. I will go with Williams.
Swami, you got 1-1 in the rookie dynasty draft. Who are you taking?
That's one of those ones where I think Walls might be spot on. I don't think I could. I think about all the guys that the Jets drafted. I think they're great picks, but who's going to really be the guy over there, right? You got a lot of talent now. You got a lot of pieces that we like. Are they just going to turn this thing over the hall? Is he going to get a lot of that love that we seen Carter and those guys getting over there? Or is he going to be one of 3 or 4 or 5 pieces and the team is, again, moving the ball, but week to week, we're not really sure. But I just feel like that he could come in once he's healthy, that, man, he could light it up. He just seemed like one of those receivers that can literally just light the league up, come in this first year, have 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns. He just feels like he would, as soon as those extremities are ready to go, I think he's going to be the one that we see emerge.
Well, Amon-Ra St. Brown is he doesn't run those deep routes, right? He runs those middle routes. So Williams, is the guy who takes the top off the defense, right? So you need, and what I've noticed is the best teams in the NFL, and I think the problem with your Ravens, Swami, is you don't have that guy now, because when you have that guy, so even though we don't love Treylon Burks, he still is going to be going out on those patterns to open up the field for Austin Hooper and Robert Woods. When you don't have that guy, all the defense comes closer, and now you got too many guys getting too close to the line of scrimmage. Right. So you have to have that guy, and that's why Jameson Williams is such a great pick, because he just extends that defense. Now DeAndre Swift has more room, Hockenson has more room, Amon-Ra St. Brown has more room. I think it just makes everybody better.
Yeah. And just based off the names that he just said, which one are you taking, Willie? You're not taking any of them Pushy and Wednesday and Duvernay. You're not taking any of those jokers. Even though I think we might got an edge at tight end, I think overall you would take those 5 guys he just named, Swift, Williams. You would take those guys all day long over. I mean, DK, I think we still like him. We definitely still like the tight end. But then at wide receivers, where the edge going to go to the Lions?
And look at this. I mean, what happened with the Bengals this year? Chase, open it up. You understand what I'm saying?
One guy.
Right.
Open it up.
Change that whole team. Change that whole team.
Even with a cheeks offensive line.
Nothing else changed from the year before.
Nothing
else was different. One guy.
Look at the Vikings. Justin Jefferson changed that team.
Yes,
one guy.
When you get that, when you get that deep, that's scary. You got quarterbacks hitting themselves in the head because people are open because of that.
And imagine if they let those 3 guys go each year, right? First you let the guy in the slot go, then you let the guy on the outside go, and then you say, I'm not going to pay Chase. That's the kind of craziness that Tennessee basically does.
I mean, A.J. Brown did things that you need him to do, right? All these players did things to take these tops off the defense, and now the Eagles arguably have 2 guys who could do that.
Devontae, man, they listen, and you got the tight man. I'm telling you, the Eagles, man, bravo, and they got another good draft choice. Another guy to replace that line. But listen, the Eagles did well.
Oh, Jordan Davis is legit.
Yes, sir.
Legit.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Think the Browns last one. Look how they just let receivers go each year. that offense isn't getting better.
Which
They had
team?
all that talent. The Browns, right? They had all those.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
each time they
Ruined.
just kept letting folks go. You don't get better that way.
Right.
And so teams are proving this now consecutive years where we're seeing it. And that's why I'm so hard on my beloved Ravens, is that I don't think you get better by consistently letting folks go.
Look, the Browns get rid of Beckham, you get rid of Landry, you get rid of Hooper. I know you bring in Amari Cooper. It's not enough. The Browns barely make the playoffs. Barely make the playoffs, only because Deshaun Watson is that good, right? And the running game is that good. But next year's draft, you know what they'll be looking for? A wide receiver.
Jarita, I hope you're getting this, Jarita. That's a good friend of ours that we know.
But
Hi,
Doc,
Jarita.
absolutely. But once you put a franchise quarterback in there, you have to put those pieces around them. That's why I said, just imagine if they wouldn't have gave away receiver. Now you plug in Watson, right? And then you would have been able to just take
Look,
off.
if I'm Jarvis Landry, I'm going back to Cleveland saying, start paying me right now.
Right.
You need me right now.
They haven't been making any noise. Receivers going all over the place. You get a quarterback. When are you bringing somebody in?
All right, guys. I can't wait for more of the draft. I can't wait to do this again next week. All right. What do we say before we get out of here?
Take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.
Hey, son.